Hi, this is Miss Feldman Tentori, and I am here to give you the online kickoff lecture from my home office here in Ypenburg in The Hague. So a very warm welcome to the 2017 Ebusiness. Now this is the perfect module to bring in a bit of blended learning and some online component, and we look forward to meeting you face to face at the workshop soon. But meanwhile, here's an online lecture for you. So these are a few things that I will go through today. So firstly, the overview of the course is covered in the syllabus, which I've just uploaded onto Blackboard. That gives you all of the details that create the outline of this course. I'll talk through a few of them here, but I recommend that you go to Blackboard, download that, and have a read through. The structure of the module is that there are 11 online lectures. In the past, we've given them live, but the feedback from previous year's students is that they really like the flexibility of having them online. We will also have some live guest lectures and 8 1.5-hour workshops. So check your schedules for those. So this is what's called blended learning. It's a mix of online and face-to-face. There are 2 individual assignments, and the self-study for this module is 5 hours per week. For the AP students, we will run through a separate schedule. You're due to start in November, whereas the regular students are starting now at the end of August. Take a look at the module description in the syllabus. So I have a small printed out copy here, but this is also another overview that you should be reading through, which gives you the same outline of the structure. So the online lectures, we follow a different trend or a topic for each week. So this week is the introduction, and we start to talk about ICT trends and what Ebusiness is. Then next week we look at planning, business planning and opportunities, then a website overview and analysis. You will be building a website in this module. We talk in week 4 about e-business and ICT management, in week 5 about integrating online and offline, and in week 6 is dimensions of culture. In block 2, you get really hands-on and we create a website for a business using WordPress. In week 8, we give you some more information about website design and content. In week 9, the SEO strategy. Week 10, social media, and 11 is the summary and a guest lecture. There's also guest lectures throughout, so keep an eye on Blackboard and Facebook. These aren't only for Ebusiness, but some of them will be relevant to you. So after this course, you will be able to look at Ebusiness from a global perspective. You will also know how to create a business model canvas, which is a really useful business planning tool. You'll build a WordPress website, and you'll know what all these kind of abbreviations mean: SEO, SEM, SMO, and we'll go through all of them. So to introduce your lecturers, you'll see us live face-to-face next week in the workshops. But I'm Miss Renee Feldman Tentori. We also have Miss Claire Moore, Mr. Daniel Choi, and Mr. Onno Jongmans. In the syllabus, there's a brief bio for each of us, but we all have a many years combined of practical experience as well as teaching experience. So we look forward to meeting you face to face. We also have consult hours so that you can come and see us. Consult hours are more for very specific personal issues or questions that you may have. And then in the workshops, you'll see us and you can ask more general questions and interact with your classmates as well. So let's get straight into ICT trends. So you may be aware of some trends already. What is ICT? I would really like to encourage you, not just in this module, but throughout your studies, to do a little bit of research yourself as well. I'll give you a few tips and a bit of a lead in here in the PowerPoints, but particularly with the self-study hours allocated to this, I encourage you to do some research for yourself. We're here to coach you and guide you, and we'd love to help you as much as possible. I'll give you a little bit of a lead in here, but I'd also like you to do some research. So I'd like you to go and look up what exactly is ICT trends and come to the workshop next week with a good idea of this. But in general, it's using technology in business, and that is completely unavoidable these days. There's a lot of disruptive technology and innovation. I'll talk about that in a moment. And the core of your first assignment is why should companies invest in ICT, and what is that exactly? So this global digital snapshot, I was going to update it just now, but I thought this is a great opportunity for you also to do a bit of research and see how things are changing. So in general though, wherever you come from in the world, and I love that we're such an international cohort here at the Hague University of Applied Sciences, wherever you are in the world, people are using the internet, they're using social media, things are going particularly mobile, and people use it daily. The use around the world is increasing. Depending on where you're from, there may be still some scope for it to increase more, and some are reaching saturation. But I would like to recommend that you go and have a look wherever you're from, what the internet usage is like right now, and where are those figures rising and maybe even falling. Mobile connections, I think the average, like in West Europe, is 125%. I know in my household, I have an 8 and 10-year-old that have just got their first smartphones. And I have, in our household of 4 people, yet we've got about 1.5 phones each. So how many mobiles have you got? What kind of operating systems? These are all the type of things that you need to think about in the topic of e-business. 87% of millennials say that their smartphone never leaves their side. I also teach IMC, Integrated Marketing Communications, and you'll be doing that next semester. And we talk about something there called no-mo-phobia, no mobile phone phobia. So I know when I walk out the door without my phone, I usually have to rush back and get it, and it's usually within reach. It's always here by my side. In fact, I've got a lanyard, so I'll wear it around my neck. But this is a trend that we need to be aware of, and how can we utilize that for business? So which mobile operating system are you on is something to consider as well. So I'm an iOS, but I also have an Android. Windows and BlackBerry are smaller percentages, and are there others? So like I said, I'm giving you a few tips here. I'm not going to give you every single bit of information you need for the assignment. I'm giving you a few ideas of things to think about, and then you can make some notes and go and research this further. But basically, Android at the moment, when these figures came out, was the biggest operating system, and I believe still is. iOS is the next one, and then there's others as well. Xiaomi in China is one of the leaders, and make use of this in your workshops. So you're in new groups this year, in year 2, and in year 1 you got to know your fellow students from all around the world, and you did the ICP, the Intercultural Project Week, which is always one of my favorites. Make use of that wealth of knowledge in your class. Talk to some of the Chinese students, talk to some of the students from all around the world, engage and interact with each other and ask questions like, what are the biggest smartphones where you're from? And when you do your assignment, there is a big cultural aspect. So you can, of course, choose your own country where you're native to, but you can also choose another and research that. This will come in handy in the future as well when you go on your internships and study abroads and start writing your thesis. Messaging apps is a very interesting ICT trend. So when I ask in the minor that I teach as well, that's just kicking off this week for the year 3s, it's been interesting to see that WhatsApp has been creeping in there as one of the favorite social media messaging apps. Facebook's also big, and go and have a look and see if you can find some statistics yourself of what are the most popular apps and social media tools that are being used in business. WeChat is another one. I don't use WeChat because I don't know many people on WeChat, but I know it's huge in China and it's becoming popular in other countries. And WeChat is fascinating. We had a guest lecture at the Hague University of Applied Sciences talking about how many things are actually integrated within WeChat itself. So these are all ICT trends that are worth being aware of. Buy buttons and e-commerce is something else to look up. Buy buttons are coming in. Twitter, Facebook, Google are making it really easy now to buy immediately and buy online. Mass customization is possible with the increases in technology and ICT. So not only do you buy products now, you can actually get products with your name on them. Advertising is pretty huge, and some people love advertising, some people don't, but you need to be aware that this is an engine that drives ICT. We talk more about this in IMC next semester, but you can start doing a bit of research and looking at the trends about advertising for business online. And people are trying to stop it, so you have to be pretty smart as an advertiser to bypass this as well. Businesses are being completely reinvented through apps and the usage of apps in business. And user-generated content is something that interests me very personally as well. People are generating content and content consumers and content creators. So what type of content do you consume every day? And as a business and an e-business, how do you get this content in front of people? Online platforms are enabling steady growth in product and services. So this module and e-business in general is relevant to both products, so tangible things that you can hold, and services as well. There's a lot of space for innovation and growth in education, healthcare, and government are 3 areas. And for example, with education, I just finished my master's on e-learning, and there is a very interesting multi-billion dollar industry worldwide, healthcare and things like smartwatches and smartphone connections. Governments are using e-business and ICT and technology more and more. Disruption is a term that you'll hear here, so things that are changing rapidly. So the type of software and hardware that we use, the fact that it's global, the type of mobiles that we carry. There's some really great developments in 3D and virtual reality as well coming in. Drones are making a difference. And there's things like the first movers and fast followers. You'll hear also terms like early adopters. But basically, the way that we consume content, the way that businesses do business online, the way we share music is changing completely. So the music industry has been completely disrupted by technology. I am old enough to remember carrying one of these around. And then one of these, I remember running on the beach and trying to stop it skipping, and then things have developed with MP3 players, and then they've developed. So depending on your age, I think most of you are between about 18 to 22 or so, but these developments in e-business and ICT have happened within your lifetime. But in this module, we want you to think about the value of your experience to companies in the future, but also the way that ICT has completely disrupted the way that business is done. Things like cloud computing and new business models and new value chains have been created. This is a really neat infographic that you can look up the link to with 12 disruptive technologies. And this kind of thing is not only interesting, but useful for when you're researching for your first assignment and which business you're going to use. You'll be asked to write in your first assignment report, why should companies invest in ICT? These are just a few of our suggestions. So in the workshops as well, we can talk through a few of these, and on the Facebook group, we can discuss them as well. There's a few resources I encourage you to add and share your own. And what is e-business? So just to back up again, so we've talked about ICT trends in general, and here, these are the specific things that e-business covers in within a business. So it's bringing together anything related to the ICT side of things, both internally and externally. The terminology, so you'll hear things like e-commerce. We've chosen e-business, but they're similar concepts. You'll hear digital, ICT being thrown around, business to consumer, business to business, and CRMs and technology. I suggest that you decide on the terms that you're going to use in your report and explain how and why you're using those terms, to just be very clear, because sometimes people use things interchangeably. Globalization has had a big impact on e-business. So 1.0 there is the Dutch actually sailed around the world, were known for the in the golden age, and then like the steam trains, and the world seemed to shrink, and now it seems tiny because countries seem so close together. I'm Australian, as you can hear from my accent, and I communicate with my family basically daily, and that wasn't available or possible before. Some things I'd like you to think about and discuss, if you like, in the Facebook group. How has e-business affected your life? And how will it affect your career in the future? I turned 42 this week, and e-business was something that when I was at school, and even when I did my bachelor's degree in business not that long ago, this was something that we couldn't even really discuss or comprehend because it was only brand new. So it's been pretty intense how quickly this has grown. I'll give you a quick preview of the assessment. It will be available on Blackboard for the end of the week, but you'll be doing an e-business case report, which will be worth 60%. We will put the details on Blackboard and go through them in the workshops, but just to give you a bit of a taster of what to expect, you can submit it as an individual assignment, but the workshops are a good time to collaborate with your fellow students. But make sure, as with all modules, that you have no more than 10% similar text, because Forrest will pick that up. But you can talk to each other about the businesses that you're using and the type of sources and where you find information. That's perfectly fine to talk about in the workshops. You'll be writing a 10-page report evaluating ICT trends in business. So a few of those tips that I've just given you, you can do a bit of further research. Make sure you reference. If you want good grades in a report and in your thesis, you need to do your own research and reference that correctly. So you'll be learning that in Beck, I believe they're teaching you how to reference. We will be creating a business model canvas for here we've got a new business, but you will be looking for an existing business and transforming that later into a new business. Don't worry too much about that now. It's going to seem like quite a lot, but we'll do that in the workshops. So you'll be choosing an existing small business anywhere in the world with a maximum of 10 staff. And the reason being is that if you choose a really huge business to analyze, it's not going to be relevant when you do assignment 2 and you start building just a small 5-page website. You'll be creating 2 personas for your target market, so you know who you're building this website for and who you're running this business for. And you'll be submitting a written report, and I've just updated the slides and I haven't taken out the present pitch. You won't need to do a presentation and pitch this year. So for assignment 2, you'll be building a website and a screencast. The full details will also be on Blackboard soon. Will be an individual assignment, and you'll be building an actual website. The first assignment report will be a basis, and then you'll be implementing this case study. So submit a link to your website, a written report, and then we will be doing a 2-minute screencast video, a bit like I'm doing now, but you'll be talking through your website. This might seem a lot to take in right now at the beginning, but I'm just giving you a preview. We will work through all of this step by step with you in the workshops and the weekly online lectures. You will be finding a case study. So just one example that we've done in the past. I've done some work with the Feel at Home in The Hague Fair, here in The Hague, of course, which runs every year. This is a small business which is run by one owner, and they have a team of volunteers. Actually, an IBMS student called Win will be doing his internship there and starting shortly, so I might get him to come and talk with us sometime soon, hopefully. But they build their own website, they run their own website, they're a local business. When you choose your case study, it doesn't have to be in The Hague, it doesn't even have to be in the Netherlands. So I'll talk you through that on a different screencast, but you'll be looking for your own case study. And this is a lot of fun for students because you can pick something that you're really interested in. Homework, our favorite, but this is just guiding you through that 5 hours of self-study that you are expected to do every week for this module. The positive side is you schedule that in when suits you. If you're an evening person like I am, or you want to do it from home, you can do that. If you prefer to go sit in the library, you can also do that. So you need to read through the syllabus and make sure you understand the requirements of the module, and make sure you ask. Bring your questions to the workshops, ask in the Facebook group you can join. Sign up for the Google Digital Garage and start through the lessons. I've got a different screencast for that, and come ready with any questions. I've been putting materials on Blackboard for you, and I created an online intake survey. This is the first time we've done this, but I thought this is a really great way for us as your lecturers to gather some information and get an idea about your prior knowledge and what your expectations are for the course, if you've got any questions for us, so that even before you walk into the first workshop next week, we can have a scan through the information that you share in the intake survey. So I really look forward to meeting you. I love teaching this module. This is my 4th year of teaching it. And I love Ebusiness. I've run my own business, Sesti, which is a social media consulting business for 10 years now, and I love sharing it with students. We always get a lot of really good positive feedback about this module. Students find it really fun. It's quite different to to all the other modules that you've done. We get to try out a lot of cool stuff like these online videos, but we're also very, very open to your feedback. So tell us what you like, what you think could be improved, and we're more than happy to listen and try and incorporate that as much as we can. There are, of course, specific requirements we have to work through, but we will be there helping you as much as possible, both online and face-to-face. So that's our first lecture. That's our first online lecture. I hope you've enjoyed that, and we look forward to talking with you soon.